A heartfelt welcome to today's episode of Humanities Dialogue, presented by DEIpeople.com. We're so excited to have you join us for this dialogue. Hosted by Quincy and DEI leader, activist, and disruptor, and Daniella Fairbairn, author of Insanely Great Customer Service, and the podcast host of Be Insanely Great. Let's have a real humanities dialogue together. Now, beloveds, let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Humanities Dialogue presented by DEIpeople.com. Hashtag DEIpeopleOfficial on Instagram. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Quincy and friend, entrepreneur, DEI leader, DEI disruptor. Joined by my wonderful co-host,
Daniella Fairbairn. I am a wife, I am a leader, I'm an advocate, and I am creating a role of competent leaders who are vulnerable, passionate, and decision makers in all that we do.
Thank you, Daniella. How are you?
I am insanely great, Quincy. How are you?
Listen, so we are having
Yes.
part 2 of our conversation. Is the DEI train still running? And this is the part 2 episode to our first episode on Is the Train Still Running?
Yes.
And I want to lay the ground, set the stage on, is DEI a priority within corporate America? And we're going to have a real frank discussion about where you sit on this and why you're having that opinion. And I think we're going to have a really robust conversation about where we see ourselves, where we want to be, and understanding that the train has left.
Left the building.
It's on the tracks. It is moving. But I know right now within our present world, we're seeing a lot of organizations jumping off the train. But the train is still moving.
Yes.
And I think I want our audience to understand the train has left. Mm-hmm. Organizations that are jumping off the train, it's at their own detriment.
Yes, they're feeling the impact. Yes.
Full, and they're following certain trends, and they're trying to preserve themselves as organizations. And just to give you kind of like an understanding, there are upwards of 33 million businesses and companies within the United States. And we have just about 2 million of them that have a robust DEI program, which is more than likely more than 1 or 2 team members that are specifically focused on DEI initiatives within an organization. And so as we see on our social media feeds, and we see within just the conversation from our present administration about DEI programs being, either stopped, and then you have organizations now coming out to say, we are winding that down, or we're taking that out of our business. And some of them are feeling some repercussions of it. The train has left.
I do have to say, Quincy, agreed, the train has left.
Mm-hmm.
I do think in what we're seeing in the media is that everyone is just hopping off this DEI train, when in reality that is not in fact the case.
Yes.
And so I do think of perception being reality. And so if we're given the perception that DEI is detrimental to anyone's business, and that people who are quote unquote unqualified getting these jobs is causing harm to our society as a whole, when it really is not the case, Quincy, why is it being portrayed in the media that DEI has been detrimental? And why, when things are happening in this world, they're saying, oh, it's DEI. They have these people who are people of color, who are not qualified, who are just getting this job, not based on their own merit, but just based on the color of their skin,
I think the in-depth conversation is to ask yourself, where are you on the DEI conversation? And there are 2 parts of it, right? Mm-hmm. There's one part where you are doing quotas, or you are trying to bring somebody that is unqualified which is predominantly, a person of color, into a position that they're unqualified for, right? So that's one way of thinking about it. The other way is you are intentionally trying to undo social structures, things that are permanent truths within our world, in making sure that those inequalities are taken care of. And yes, it will be affecting people of color, but it's also is going to be affecting and helping anybody that falls within the minority, right? Which might be women, which might be the poor, the unhoused, people that you're not seeing in your world as an equal, but do need help, need support, so as they can just thrive, so that they can thrive. And so you're either on one side or on the other side. For any organization, I think, that is having a conversation about DEI and deciding, oh, you know what, let me jump off the train, right? Because when you jump off the train, what you get? Rolling in the dirt.
Yes.
Busted
Your
up.
roadkill, right?
Yeah, you are getting some scabs.
Yes.
And some things happening to you, aka Walmart.
Yes.
AKA Target.
Yes.
Right? You're getting bruised up, right? But if you're lucky enough, you survive. But you're surviving with a couple broken bones, you're not looking your best.
Right.
You now have to have a real conversation with the people that work for you. You have to have a real conversation with the people you serve. And if you can survive in that way, then good for you, right?
Right.
And I don't know if any organization within the United States can say, I can survive only on a specific demographic. I don't think any organization can say, I will only sell to African Americans and survive.
Correct.
I will sell to only indigenous people and survive. I will only sell to whites and survive. Because in capitalism, there's something called competition. And so we all want every customer. So no customer's dollar is too white, too black, too indigenous.
There's supply and demand, right?
Correct.
And so there's always going to be a demand.
Yes.
Are you going to have what they need, right?
Correct.
So sometimes you hear people say the only color that matters is green. Money talks.
Yeah.
Money talks. That's
Yeah.
it. So when these decisions are made to jump off the DEI train, it's making an impact. And so it's affecting your bottom line, period.
Yeah, but I think, especially for the large organizations that have decided to jump off the train, there's going to take some money to repair your corporate image that you worked so hard. Because, like, for example, I know for Tesla, they're going to have some image issues. The minute you can connect the dot that this is a white supremacist brand, then you're going to have a problem. Right now, you have your leader doing certain things that could be perceived anyway. And he is intentionally not correcting by saying, hey, that salute was not a Nazi salute. I didn't do that. I really meant this. He's like, no, you could believe whatever you want to believe. And with that...
Wrong and strong, Quincy.
Yeah, wrong and strong, as we would say in Guyana, big and bad.
Hey.
And now you're now connecting your brand, right?
With that.
With that. Who wants that for their corporate image? I work for a place where, and he is just a big public figure, but you don't want to be working for an organization that is saying, hey, we don't like gay people, or we don't like Hispanics, or we don't want those people in our no. Not when there's competition.
Right.
That will come and take that market share from you, do better than you, have more marketing dollars that will, in time, just make your business smaller and smaller until it's non-existent.
The thing is that, Quincy, where do you think people are getting this belief that DEI means unqualified people are being placed in positions. Where does that stem from?
It does not stem in any fact.
There's no reality.
It is
Yeah.
a narrative that was created because when you look at African Americans, especially that are in positions of power, whether it be in the Senate, whether it be in business, they had to work 10 times harder. When you see just House of Representatives and the qualifications the African American House of Representative has in comparison to their white counterparts, who is not a lawyer, is a doctor, right? People that are super qualified
Yes.
in their fields, and it's not consistent.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is something that is based in truth, but it's based in propaganda. And if you get enough people to say it out loud, then people start to believe. And the whole concept of like trans people are having, an impact on the social fabric. Trans people make up what, 1% of the population,
Right.
right? The 1% that we're talking about that is making all the impact are the wealthy people.
Right.
Right? It's very, very difficult when those wealthy people feel in their core that they are right to take social services away or take certain social nets away from somebody and not go through the lens of understanding why that social net is there. Why is working from home such a big thing?
Right.
Through the DEI lens. It is
Yeah.
not because people want to be home making brownies while they work. No,
No.
it has a direct correlation with healthcare and childcare and the cost that it takes in time and money to get to the office.
Yes.
And all that I do can be done in an electronic world. I can be on the phone, I can send the email, I can talk to the client because that's what I did in the office.
Yes.
There is no difference in the work. But there is this consistent messaging that lazy people work from home.
But the thing is, Quincy, you and I both know you can go to
Listen.
the office, Quincy, and not do a thing. Okay?
Listen, chit-chatting.
All day.
Chit-chatting.
All day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's the productivity level. And people have, and I don't know if there are actual studies, but they're saying the productivity of those working from home is high.
Yeah,
It's not to say they're not doing their job. Yeah.
The productivity is not that it has decreased.
Yes.
What has happened is a lot of the socializing has been eliminated.
Yes.
So the person doesn't have much time to socialize. And also any sort of team building will not be there in the sense of the camaraderie, the
Yes.
human connection. But the work is getting done because most businesses have targets. And that target is based on last year's comp.
Yes.
Of whatever it is, whether
Right.
it be you're selling something, whether it be a service, there's last year's sales, there's last year's goals, there are deadlines, and people are meeting them. The thing is, if you were to look at a work week within a building that you go to, there's a lot of, I don't know what the numbers are, but I would say out of the 40 hours, a good 5-6 hours that is just talking to people.
Yes.
How you doing? How's the baby? How
Yes.
is the husband?
Right.
Are the tulips growing? Right?
Right.
Then there's the commute. Most people have a half an hour commute. Some people have an hour.
When it's construction on the road, double the time.
Hour and a half. Right?
Crazy.
Good. So all you're doing is eliminating that.
Yeah.
Right? I saw something with small businesses are being affected because when you come to work, small businesses sell you lunch. What do you think people eating at home? Uber Eats. Okay?
Yes.
The people in your community now are being impacted because you are ordering. Nobody is at home cooking.
Right.
You're
Right.
like, listen, I have an hour lunch
Yes.
or half an hour. I need to get this done. And you're working through your lunch most of the times.
Correct.
So again,
Yes.
yeah, pick
Yeah.
and choose your battles with DEI. I think how are we measuring DEI and the impact, right, is another question that we need to kind of consider.
Right.
How is it successful to you as an organization? I think the banks are understanding because they know Most of the banks are international. So they have to have a lot of cultural competency training. They have to do a lot of understanding clients because money is money.
Yes.
But not everybody is, a New York money. We got Texas money. We got California money, Arizona money, wherever. Is different cultures and understanding how to communicate, how to make sure that we are connecting to those people at their level.
And even on the surface, so you're calling the bank customer service. There are times where who you're getting assistance from may not be someone who is American, right?
Yeah.
And so someone who is from abroad.
Yes.
And so DEI has worked out in that way, in that it has made a positive impact for these businesses, in that the cost of labor, there's so many factors that come into play for them to say, well, you know what? No more DEI.
Yeah.
Can you afford that?
We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. There's so much more to come here on Humanities Dialogue. Beloveds, welcome back to Humanities Dialogue. Now back to the show.
Listen, the train has left.
Yes.
We are having a conversation about what's coming up on your timeline as it pertains to DEI in an organization. And for the people, social media has done us an injustice in that, because we only see what we are paying attention to.
Yes.
And a computer is deciding, okay, you look 3 seconds at that. Let me give you more of that.
Yes.
We saw that in the election because I was convinced when I saw Beyonce, I'm like, she got this in the bag.
She got it in the bag.
She got
That's
it.
it.
And
That's
again, the feed was real. But again, it's a computer like, you want more of this, let me give you more of this.
Yeah.
So that you can stay on the app longer. And we all learned very sadly, that your feed is not a reality sometimes. And we miss the mark here.
Yes.
Right? Because the popular vote is they wanted, Donald Trump.
We have rules and regulations in place for a reason. There's a reason for it. If there were no reason, it wouldn't be in place. If everything were equal on all parts, so if there was equity, if there was inclusion, if there was diversity from the start, there would be no need for a DEI department. But because, right? Because it was not, everything was not equal, that is the reason why that was in place, right?
It is to counteract the social injustices of our society.
Right.
Of course, it'll force you to get a Black Supreme Court justice. Yes, it will, because if we allowed the injustice to continue, it would all be white men. There'd be nobody else but white men on that.
That is
in the court.
Yes.
It forced you to have the conversations, to even ask yourself, how did we get here? Like, why are we only having this specific school or these specific people when we're trying to serve everybody?
Right.
And it also brings in the wonderful part of life experience. If you're all going to a specific school, being taught by a specific set of teachers,
right,
are from a specific economic class, you cannot speak for the majority.
Correct.
You cannot.
That's true.
And you will always miss the mark. So when I saw the legislation taking away the $300 a couple years back for, kind of sharing or giving the child credit before, rather than at the end of the year,
right,
and brought so many people out of poverty,
right,
I knew immediately anybody that is fighting to go against that is disconnected from somebody that's in poverty. Because if $300 is such a big thing, but again, everybody has their own motives.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
You want to keep those people in that space.
For a reason.
For a reason. That is why the DEI program is there, to kind of shine a light on you as a leader, as an elected leader. Hey, why didn't you want to give a family the $300? Oh, I don't want them to have too much money.
And what is $300 going to do, Quincy?
Barely cover some food.
Barely.
Buy some sneakers for some child who don't have no proper shoes.
Barely. We're not saying $30,000. We're saying $300, Quincy.
Yes. And it's not like it
Greed.
wasn't money that they will get.
Yes.
It wasn't coming out. It was $300, which is a $3,600 child credit that you will get at the end of the year. So you're going to still get it. But when you get it lump sum, you can afford an iPhone now or a Samsung Galaxy
Right.
1640 or whatever, right?
Yes.
That's a difference. And then they know, oh, we want that. It's the biggest ads in poor communities. Cars, when you get your tax refund.
Different conversation, right?
Different conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
But again, it's how are we trying to help our society? I had this conversation at dinner about the amount of money that is needed to alleviate poverty within the United States.
Okay.
Add another $200. Just give out a $500. We wouldn't have anybody hungry no more. $500. We gave out 1,000. Take that same credit that you know that you will be giving out. Not everybody should get the $300, but give to people that you know that it will affect. Who should be in America hungry? Who? Like who? And their representatives that are fighting.
Yes.
There was, I can't remember the state in which the representative forced a nonprofit that was giving $300. They sued them. A nonprofit that picked poor
You see my face, Quincy?
Listen. And that person is in there really thinking that, you know what, I am doing the best for my constituents. How could you say that and have
Right.
hungry people or have homeless people in your constituent and live and sleep sound?
And think that's
So
okay.
we get me all-
Where's your
listen,
conscience? Yeah.
listen. Jump off the train, man.
Yes.
You could go. Jump off the DEI train, go right ahead. Because
Right.
there's a special place for people
Because
like y'all.
otherwise I'll push you off, right? Yes.
But it's this real conversation within yourself as a human being.
Yes.
Asking yourself, DEI is a buzzword right now.
Yes.
Just like Black Lives Matter, just like wokeness, just like all of these words. But what it's trying to represent and to do is dismantle the social injustices that we have within our society. All right? If you know that at the core, why are you fighting to not do that? And we're not asking you as an organization to do it for the world, for the people that work for you and your customers. That is all they're asking. They're not asking you to go check, Target. We didn't ask you to go and check on the Marshall's customers.
Right.
We just want you to take care of your customers and your employees to make sure that those people do not face any of the injustices that they have inherited. Why are you then
Right.
choosing to jump off the train?
But Quincy, that speaks to their fear, right? So you're afraid. So if you know that there is someone who is leading the country in which you live and who is of the belief and who is othering people, you're afraid. You're afraid that for some reason you will be the next target because you see how powerful he is.
I am 100% sure that if our president said, do not shop at Target because they are keeping their DEI programs, there are enough Democrats within this country that will make sure they shop there, even if they're more expensive. So the good outweighs the bad here.
Got it.
Yes, you are going to be the target. And listen, you know why they're not bothering with the bank? Anyway, I know why they're not messing
Yes.
with the bank. You know why? Bank got money. Mr. got a couple of his loans too. So he could go on and run with those people so they can be like, okay, run me my money now.
Yeah.
Right? So it's you gotta stand in the truth of what is important. And what is important is making sure you take care of your employees. Make sure you take care of your customers.
Yes.
And if you have a structure in which we understand the baggage of slavery, Jim Crow, racism, sexism, etc., and I could go on, we know we don't need to do any more surveys. We know this is bad behavior. In an organization, you only have a certain amount of people, a certain amount of customers, and a certain amount of teammates.
Yes.
And you are creating a better world for those people. And you have an opportunity to do it for just for you, your small part. Why are you then pivoting to a 4-year term? But I'll tell you why. There are some legislation right now going through in which the legislation will pick the top 3 to 6 organizations that still keep DEI, and they're going to do some audits on them. Now, what the audits are supposed to do? It's supposed to see if there are any person receiving benefits, promotions, money based on race, sex,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Which DEI program is going to fail that one? But it's a fear because
Yes.
nobody wants an auditor, right? Especially from the government.
Yes.
All up in your business, right? And so, yes, I understand that fear. But that fear is if they're doing bad things,
Right.
right? If your DEI is making sure we get a couple of this in, or they're going with coders, or they're not making sure that their hiring processes, their ERGs, their whatever it takes to make sure that their specific employees and customers are treated equally, then you need to analyze that before the auditors come and be putting you on blast in front of everybody.
And do your due diligence. Yep.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's where your due diligence
Yes,
comes in. You know, I think every organization that decided to jump off, right? I'm glad for you. I know you're rolling in the dust right now. You're getting all bumps and bruises. The other 2 million people, other 2 million businesses that are on the train watching you, they're looking to see if you survived it, what happened to you. Nobody wants to be saddled with that after the administration is gone.
Yes. Okay, fair enough.
You're
Fair
going to
enough.
have some problems.
Yes, agreed.
You do not
Agreed.
want to be that organization, right?
There are people who are very passionate about this on social media.
Yeah.
And they are advocates for DEI. And they're like, wait, but hold on. Target didn't learn the lesson the first time? They said during the height of the BLM movement, the Black Lives Matter movement,
Yeah.
they said we burned down 2 targets. So they think that this time around with them pulling back, that it won't be much more of an impact. So every action has a reaction. And so if you have been burnt once, you want to get burnt twice? Like,
Yeah.
what's the logic in that?
Yeah.
You know?
It's the quickest way to lose your job as a CEO.
It is.
If you cannot forward see
Yes.
in your forecasting and your critical thinking that this is best for the organization, for the brand, then you need to step down or you will be fired by your shareholders. Because the minute I have a $5 share that became $3
Right.
or $1
We have a
or
problem.
50 cents, you're gonna run me my money
Yes.
because you're not fit for this job.
Yeah.
If you're thinking that the good that is coming out of a DEI program, and I can bet Target's DEI program maybe 5 people, because it's a lot of senior management really looking at policy, looking at vendor management, really looking at sourcing, really looking at making sure there is an adequate amount of both sets of products, making sure your corporate image, what are you sponsoring, right? You have a certain budget. Why are you not sponsoring Pride? Why are you not sponsoring Black History Month, right? And then you're going to say, I'm sponsoring whatever you're deciding to. You are running a risk.
This whole experience, Quincy, is very anxiety provoking, I have to say.
Yeah.
You're waking up to this, you're going to sleep with this, you're talking about this. And it's not even to say at the workplace you can safely talk about this. People, it's known. You don't talk politics at work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Unless you really have a kind of relationship with your coworker. But even if, it's a lot going on. And so it can make you feel defeated. It can make you feel as if you have no voice, no
Yeah.
hearsay as to what's going on. It's like, what do we do? Like, how do we feel empowered in this time?
Yeah.
You know?
I think if you're within an organization that is saying to the world, and you indirectly now as a part of that organization, we are dismantling, we do not want DI programs because we've arrived, right? We're getting it right, right? More than likely, the employee has to look at the behaviors. And yes, you may have really robust hiring practices. You may be having, a lot of employee resource groups already. You may be making sure there's pay equity in every decision that is made. You may have put all of those things in place. And so all of your members of that organization are reaping the benefits of a DEI program. And so we're just going to absorb it into HR, right? Our C-suite is balanced. Our causes that we give to are balanced. We have people at the top or middle management are making sure that we have enough benefits for everybody, whether it be a single mom to, a trans member of our team. We have everything. Then yes, go dismantle away because your organization and the people that work for you will know.
Yes.
We put everything in place and we're going to save these 5 workers.
Yes.
Yes. Because we got lawyers, we got everybody is working in sync with that.
Right.
Now,
right.
if you don't have that, then you need to continue the work. So I hope for Ford and these other organizations that are making a big thing about their DEI program, I hope you have that. I really, in my heart, hope that you got ERGs, you have proper budgeting, you're involving everybody from every stage of your organization in your decision making. Your training and leadership is inclusive. Mandatory, cultural competency training for everybody.
The thing is, Quincy, if they don't have these things in place and they get rid of these departments, these divisions, these programs, how will employees be able to report when they feel as if they're being discriminated against? So I guess they'll just go through HR, and HR would then just not have the policies related to DEI in place. So what then would happen? I'm curious.
The employee would have to make a decision. The workforce would have to pivot to what makes them. And that's really where you don't want to be.
No.
When you can't understand as an organization the human capital portion of your business, you will have high turnover. Because nobody got time for that.
Right.
Especially if you're coming and you're trying to bring your all, trying to bring your talent to the table, and you have an organization that is intentionally not trying to make sure the bad actors are trained and developed, and just the bad actors continue. I can imagine there are many a CEO out there that does not believe in DEI because of their lived experience.
Yes.
Right? If you do not believe in something that you do not understand or have a part of your lived experience, you have a responsibility to the organization that has hired you to run their business, to the shareholders, to the customers, and your employees, to go and get somebody to help you.
What comes with power comes with responsibility, Quincy. Hands down. Hands down.
What type of
You're
CEO?
being paid beaucoup dollars.
Listen.
Okay?
Listen.
And then the bonus, then some.
Yeah.
Okay?
That is why. It's not to make the business smaller.
Right.
Not to only make the business profitable. It's to make sure it's sustained Nobody's trying to run a company so that it can end in 2027.
Right.
You want this thing for life. You want the shares to continue.
Yeah.
And that's where I think sometimes the tunnel vision is, how are you only seeing this as 4 years?
Yes.
You're a 4-year company. You got to be looking at this for 10, 20 years. What are we doing?
What's your plan? What's your plan? Right.
I think for the people that have, the organizations that have stood and said, listen, y'all could say whatever you want, but we're going to make sure we take care of ours.
Yes.
I wasn't surprised Costco was on the list.
We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. There's so much more to come here on Humanities Dialogue. Don't forget to visit DEIpeople.com and follow us on Instagram at DEIPeopleOfficial for more insights and updates. See you in a moment, beloveds. Beloveds, thank you for supporting the brands and initiatives that make Humanities Dialogue possible. Now back to the show.
Costco's
I'm so happy Costco was on the list. I'm so happy about that.
Costco's was on that list, everybody knew Costco's was one of the better employers.
Yes.
You see nobody know Costco's striking because they take care of their people.
They do.
Right?
They do.
I am not a member, but I know people that shop there. The people always talk about the customer service there.
Good customer
People
service.
are always talking about that organization. And that organization is saying, right, the small group of 10 or 15 people at the top are saying, there is benefit to our customers.
Yes.
There is benefit to our employees to make sure we continue this conversation until it is dismantled, because we cannot fight for them out there. But in here,
we can. Yeah.
we're going to take care of
We're
business.
hiring veterans. We're hiring those with disabilities. We're hiring women. Like, we just are very inclusive. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
It only makes sense.
Yeah.
When you go in Costco, it's rare you find a young person working there. You know, these
really?
these are adults. These are grown people working there. You know?
Yeah.
And
I'm
so you just
never
have
in the
to,
need of a large mayonnaise.
Yeah.
It's
So you
like-
don't really need, yes. Right.
Like everything in there
yes.
is just big.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear the electronics is good. I hear they sell diamonds.
Yes, they do. They do.
Listen.
They do. I've been going to Costco since I was a child. That was the first big name store we went to. My father got a membership through work. And so you will go there. We were a family of 5. It made sense for us, you know?
You needed a big mayonnaise.
We needed it. Yes. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did. And that was a place where you would go, you know?
I think, listen, for the people that have jumped off the train, I'm watching you from the window tumbling up there in the dust. That's how I see
Sipping on
it.
your tea, huh? Sipping
No,
on the
I'm
tea.
just looking on like, what would
Sipping
get
on the
into
hot
your
tea.
mind to
Right.
jump off a moving train?
Okay.
Because you heard that somebody's going to come and get you. Right?
Fair.
Yeah.
Just putting fear in
Yeah.
people.
And I'm not so sure if it's possible that you could lose stock, your valuation of your stock, if somebody found out that you did have a DI program. Did you see any examples of that?
No, I haven't.
I haven't seen any examples of like the person's like, you are having a DI program, you are valued less. I haven't seen that, but the fear is real.
The fear is real.
Yeah,
Yes.
the fear is real.
It is.
But how do you combat the fear is the question. Where do we go? The train is moving.
Yes.
We're looking on and we're seeing people in the dust there
Right.
bleeding. But we're still moving,
Right.
as a country, as small,
It won't be
organization.
a smooth train ride, Quincy. I have to say, it's going to be bumpy. That train ride will be bumpy.
The
It will be.
For the people that are still on the train,
Yes.
that are saying this train is heading into, a valley of destruction.
Okay.
Right? Do not know that. Right? It is the same fear of when I jump off and get busted up and rolling in the dust with, bleeding as an organization.
Yes.
Both are based in the unknown because Ford and others, there is, listen, if I know anything about the earth, the piper comes you got to pay.
At some point.
It's going to be not in this 4 years. It may be in 2 years when people start to connect the dots between your brand and your company and white supremacist behaviors. And if that link is ever made, I would like to see your brand survive. The only brand that is surviving is a white supremacist brand. They're not wanting to sell. They're calling you and testing you before they sell you the product. That's the only. But if you're selling cars to everybody, expect that white people will be like, I do not want to drive that because it is a great car, but it's connected to. You don't want that for your brand.
Right.
And that's what you're saying indirectly. Now, if Ford came out and said, I would ask anybody to come and look at my hiring practices, come and look at making sure that my employees are taken care of to the highest, better than any one of y'all. Compare us to Costco's any day. That's when I know, yeah, you could have closed that department because you arrived. But you can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And then, so don't be giving yourself an accolade to say, hey, I got rid of.
Yes. When in fact.
Because the employees will come. They have a union there. Remember a couple years ago,
Right.
the union may put in their negotiating because we're realizing you don't treat us well. You do need to have a DEI program. Or we not working here. We all going.
Yes. So the pressure can come from both ways, right? It can come from the top, but also from the bottom. Yeah.
It comes from the employees. It's going to come from the customers.
Round up. Yeah.
Right? And then all that's going to happen is somebody's going to lose their job at the top. And the person that is hired is going to be, what DEI experience do you have? Because we need you to have heart. We need you to come here and serve our people. Make sure you're taking care of them because we've lost
so much.
Because you there busted up on the side of the road. Who you think people have to now stop the train
Yes.
to help you get back on the train. We got to now help you. Because the only people that can help you is the people who are going through the experience.
Yes.
We're taking lumps too on the train.
Yes.
Because we got some crazies on the train fighting with us
Yes.
on the train. Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going on? I thought this was supposed to be a smooth train ride.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
They got people on the train telling
Yes.
us this is going to be blown up in a couple of.
Yeah.
We are frightened too.
You'll really be able to see those who are supporting you, right? Or those who are DEI, pro DEI versus con, right? You're going to see it. You're going to see it.
Yeah.
It will definitely be weeded out. It'll be filtered out.
Yeah. And
Yes.
it's forcing everybody to pick a side. As a DEI person, I do not like sides because I think every side is valid,
Okay.
right? And there is a validity in making sure you don't hire somebody that is unqualified, right? For a position as, press secretary at 27, right? That has no experience. A 27-year-old press secretary as the voice of a president that runs a country that has trillions dollar GDP, right? That's poor diversity work. When the person, their predecessor, had so many accolades to get that job, to be
Yes.
able to speak on behalf of a president, and you have a 27-year-old now in the position with no qualifications. Right? That is a complete
Yes.
understanding
Right.
of a failed DEI program. Now, it would have been a problem if it was a black person. Because then it'd be like, you got that job because you were black.
Right.
She got that job because she was blonde and white. because it wasn't that she had
Anything but,
journalistic
right.
experience. She knows to talk to large crowd. There's nothing. She is a 27-year-old.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Didn't even know. No clue.
Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that,
Yes.
let's see. Can our organization survive? Yes, we will. Because the train has left. Our customers are not.
Yes.
Our customers will not. Shareholders will not. Investors will not. Humanity will survive. Humanity will has forced us to just looking through history, all right? You can only suppress a people for so long.
Yeah.
And once we start to mobilize, the people will change the top. The people will change the top.
I do hope so, Quincy.
Yeah.
I do. Because it's very disheartening.
Yeah.
Very disheartening. Just thinking about Black History Month no longer. Why celebrate Black History Month, right? Why are you using your dollars to recognize the people? Like, it's just like, but why not? Every month, white white people don't have a White History Month, right?
Yeah.
It's just like that. That whole is ignorance. Really and truly is ignorance.
Yeah. Of the why it is in existence.
Yeah.
And the choosing of, because you know why.
Yeah.
You fully know why.
Right.
That's
right.
why you even want to dismantle it now. But I think it also forces us to now celebrate every month,
Yeah.
right? By Black businesses, support Black businesses. Like, start to really be intentional with your actions. And again, you're out of time.
Always a pleasure, Quincy. Always a pleasure. I have to say, always a pleasure.
Thank you again for joining us for another conversation of Humanities Dialogues presented by DEIpeople.com. Follow us, subscribe on our channels, on our various social media feeds, DEI People Official on Instagram and our DEI People page on YouTube. As always, thank you, Daniella, for joining me. Any final words?
I want you to have this as a takeaway, and that DEI is not a department, but a mindset.
A mindset.
It's a mindset.
A mindset which forces us to really treat each other as equal.
Yes. And so until next time, be insanely great.
Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We have come to the end of today's episode of Humanities Dialogue, presented by DEIpeople.com. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Until next time, from your hosts, Quincy de Neunkirk and Daniella Fairbairn. Now, continue the dialogue on at DEIpeople.com and at DEI People Official on Instagram. See you soon, beloveds.